Hey, what's up everyone? You may have seen my leveling guide for the Bleed Ritualist, but here is the in-game build. Okay, this build has been killing max Pinnacle bosses. Haven't been able to get to Citadels really just because of the low spawn rate, but since the new update 0.3.1, we have seen some Citadels, so we'll hopefully get the max map boss difficulty. But before we do that, let's just go ahead and tell you some things about this build. We're gonna go over the equipment, the skills, the support gems, and there is one support gem that is a lineage support gem worth 7 divine that makes this bleed build so much better with Rake. But that's support gems, and then after that we'll go into spirit gems. Not much changes except boss fights, and then also some minor changes in the passive trees, and I'll go over some combos and tips for like mobs and bosses and tell you what I like and dislike. So without further ado, let's go into equipment. So right off the bat, I want to talk about something I'm very proud about is these gloves that I crafted. I did have a lot of help here watching a YouTube video from the gaming channel Inferium Gaming. I'll have the link in the description, but this pair of gloves costed me about 11 divine to craft. It's just insane, you know. You got the added physical, and I don't really care about lightning, but 16 increased attack speed and 100% increased effect of socketed items. I believe you can do that. You can craft that with essence of horror, which is probably like half a divine or something. But I made sure I bought exceptional gloves when I bought that, meaning 2 sockets when you pick it up. It's a normal item. But the last touch that wasn't in Inferium Gaming's channel video was that I corrupted it, and I got that 3rd rune socket. So we got 60% increase in damaging ailments, bleeding and poisoning, and 2 rage on hit. So with that, we'll go to the belt, which is the Darkness Enthroned Fine Belt. Another 100% increase in socketed effects, and this was 100% it can range. You'll have to do Kulamax invitation to find this belt, or you can find it on the marketplace. But since these were towards gloves and they were 100%, I put the damaging ailment runes in there, which are, it's the Courtesan's Manon's Rune of Cruelty, 15 increase in damage. So in all, from my equipment, I've got 120% increased damage and damaging ailments, which is pretty insane. And then here we have our 3rd unique, which is the Beetlebite Velar shoes that you get from the King of the Mitts. Any difficulty of the Crux of Nothingness or the Ritual Pinnacle. I wanted to implement this boots. Now I did take a hit to armor because I'm an armor evasion build. This is evasion energy shield. Took a hit to just movement speed by 3%. But I corrupted it, got fire resistance. And the important thing about this boots is when you're facing stationary bosses, their bleeding never aggravates because they're never moving. I beat Zesh max difficulty without these boots, but being able to rake and disengage towards Zesh and hit rake again aggravates that bleeding. So it's really great against stationary bosses. Let's look at our rings. All right, so we have 3 uniques, or maybe not 3 uniques, 2 uniques, and 1 glove that is just you know, it's only for attack. So we need some resistances on our rings and amulet. Don't forget the amulet has +3 melee skill and anointed goring rarity. You can find maximum life. That would be a huge +2. Evasion rating on your rings. Also, if your spear doesn't have mana or life leech, it's a good idea to have one of those two on your rings. Also, it's even better idea to at least have, you know, one life leech on a spear and one life leech on a ring, and one mana leech on a spear and one mana leech on a ring. It doubles, you know, the leech, and you'll find yourself more mana and surviving higher. The +4 of all attack skills that can be crafted into a martial weapon with the perfect essence of battle. It is a suffix. One thing that I do want to mention, you know, your equipment, whatever you can do, or whatever equipment can have deflection rating, go ahead and get it, because deflection rating is the new kind of armor level of evasion. You know, it adds value to evasion. So, you know, you want to get on your buckler, your helmet, your body armor. Then also there's passive tree nodes. Let me just kind of go over my stats right now. Before I took the Velar boots on, or put them on, I had 49 armor, almost close to 50. Max life is 2200. A lot of our runes that we socketed in our equipment compensated for the resistances. We're only 1 point below the max of chaos. We only have 98 energy shield. That's coming from the boots and something else. Low mana regeneration rate. Armor estimated for 44 physical, whatever. So on our passive tree, we have 50% increase in evasion while moving. That makes our evasion 56%, and our estimated chance to deflect 56%. Yeah. So, and block chance is at a very minimum. Movement speed is at 29.6, and yeah, pretty low attributes, level 94. I wouldn't worry too much about spear stabs and spear throws. We got 2 of them because we got 2 weapon sets. Blood boil, we've got brutality, physical mastery, prolonged duration 2, swift affliction 3, magnified area 2, parry. I mean, you can just look at some of these miscellaneous skills on Mobilytics. The link will be in the description. But disengage, we'll talk about that. You know, it's basically just a backwards roll. You can use it to maneuver around the area, or, you know, gain a frenzy charge off a successful parry. But we added heft, rapid attacks, increased attack speed, increased cooldown recovery rate with cooldown recovery, holy descent, which makes our life regeneration like double or triple, makes it triple. So it's really useful when you're doing a combo and, you know, you want to unleash your twisters and you're surrounded. So there's that, and then the 3 fissures that landing on, I don't know how much damage they do. But, you know, bleeding does 10,000, close to it, per second. And then whirling slash, so that is the 3-stage combo. You want to hit it 3 times before you hit a twister. But let's talk about Whirling Slash because it's pretty important. We've got Heft, Bleed 3, Poison 3. This increases magnitude of poison if the enemies are bleeding. And then Hekate's Ire. Poisons prone supported skill deal damage 1% faster per rage. So we do get +3 rage on like basic melee hits, rake, spear stab, disengage, parry, wind dancer. But with Whirlwind Slash we get 8 rage per hit. So you know, if you do your three stage combo, you could potentially be starting out with 24 rage, and the poison that affects it is gonna go up. You know, the poison is gonna do damage faster for each rage, so that's good. I kind of thought about putting Hekate's Ire on Twister, just because, you know, Twister is going to do more poison damage the more, you know, you consume frenzy charges with barrage and then Whirling Slash. Because let's see, the stages, you know, more damage per whirlwind stage, 80%, so that's 240% more attack damage. So times this by 3, 82, 24,000 damage per Twister, and that's without the frenzy charges being consumed. But yeah, let's go over the support. Bleed 3 Salvo, which makes the twisters go in all directions randomly. It generates more twisters, and it's just it has a multiplicative effect with frenzy charges, barrage, and Whirling Slash. Poison 3, like I said, we're getting that poison damage, and with poison, every time my twisters poison somebody, it basically melts their armor. It takes one twister to break a boss's armor. And then pin. I did have pin support on Blood Hunt previously, but I find that pin support on Twister a lot more beneficial with larger mobs and doing max simulcrom runs. I know I'm saying that Pinnacle wrong, but it's a Delirium Pinnacle max. It's very useful because you want to be rotating, slowing your enemies down. And then with Rake, we have a 7 divine lineage gem on here, Altuli's Bloodletting. But before we get to that, I just kind of want to, I had exploit weakness on that earlier. Let me show you the difference. Wait. No, it won't add any DPS to Rake unless, you know, you broken armor. This was my setup before I got this lineage gem, and you know, with twisters basically melting armor, it was actually a good idea. But you see how it's at 15,000 damage bleeding per second. Wait, oh, that's Blood Hunt. It goes from 15,000 to 20,000. That is insane bleeding damage per second. I mean, if you think about it, 5,000 per second. And then you also have all that. For a boss, we don't, I'm gonna get rid of the exploit weakness. But for bosses, we switch out Ancestral Call for Brutality 3. And now look at that bleeding per second. 27,000 bleeding per second on a boss. So that's the move to switch. Also, When we're switching the bosses, we're going to be switching out Combat Frenzy with Berserker and making sure we have life regeneration. You probably go without clarity on Berserker and Combat Frenzy. So that is Berserk and Barrage, as well as Rake. Well, we didn't go over the normal setup for Rake. So here's the mob clearing setup: heft, momentum, deep cuts, and ancestral call. Good for clearing out mobs when you're not twisting. And then blood hunt. We've got heft, momentum, heavy swing, exploit weakness, so you know we can get that 40% more damage, consuming a broken armor on the enemy, and execute. So I kind of want to do a test. We're at 40,000 explosion per use. If we put out Atuli's bloodletting on blood hunt, the explosion goes to 52,000. But I just feel like, you know, marginally it's going to be better on Rake. Barrage, we've got perpetual charge, heightened charge, cooldown recovery, second wind, efficiency, combat frenzy. I showed you the switch between, you know, mobs and bosses. You know, you switch it for berserk. Wind dancer, heft, maim, life leech. Life leech on wind dancer is going to keep you alive, right? Increase area of effect. Also has pin support, you know, generated frenzy charges. There might be a better support for wind dancer. And then herald of blood, I don't run a herald of plague, but we got heft, poison, bursting plague, deadly poison, magnified area. Y'all can suggest better support gems. I would appreciate it. But I think that is it for the skills and support gems and spirit gems. Let's go ahead and talk about the passive tree. All right, here's the passive tree. You can see the ritual ascendancy. Here's where we're getting that reduced mana. But you know, if you can find better rings, I would suggest 20% less resistance to elements. Also, cool thing about having a twister and whirling slash bleed is this damage versus blinded nodes. So 25-15, you're looking at 55% increased damage against blinded enemies. But yeah, we also went up on this node right here to go for increased chance in ailments, hit break, armor. I'm just more worried about like the 20% increase in armor and evasion over here. You can see that here as well. 100% while on low life is pretty good. And some of the changes that we did to the bleeding nodes is we took bleeding completely off of right here, just because we have the equipment to compensate for that. That's where we could have made those changes to armor and evasion and increase our survivability. We also took 2 magnitudes away from here on this bleeding tree. But I really like the increased attack damage against bleeding enemies as well, kind of like the blinding effect. And then also we were able to make a couple more adjustments to get to the ailment chance and effect. nodes here that increases chance to inflict and increase magnitude. And then also deterioration, passive notable. And then a deflection, passive notable here. This is where we get the 40 increase evasion. I think I said 50 earlier. I meant 40 while moving. Yeah, I think that's like the only deflection passive nodes we have. And as far as jewels, I recommended in the leveling jewel emeralds and sapphires, but I'm gonna recommend emeralds and another jewel in just a second. But for emerald, this is the prime emerald you want. It is increase attack speed and attack damage, increase spear attack, increase spear attack speed. Should have said damage earlier, but yeah, you get it. I got 2 of those right here. There's probably magnitude, but the last jewel I'll recommend is a ruby. 15% increase global physical damage. That's great for bleeding, you know. Gain 1 rage on melee hit. So if we decide to take, you know, that rage socket off of the glove, we'll still be generating 1 rage, keeping our rage up with this jewel. And then gain 1 rage when you're hit. Easy. And then 32 increase in defenses from equipped shields. That's pretty big. I know. I wanna add some timeless jewels before I switch to a crit build and move somewhere kind of like out of this area on the left and middle to right up here. But I think that's it for the passive trees. Okay, I'm gonna do a max breach run and hopefully I don't die. Yeah, I might cheat a little here. Okay, we're gonna use a thawing and a silver charm, keep us from freezing. And I hope I don't have to die. I hope I don't have to die. And that's usually how we start our combos, whirling slash, but sometimes we can use our twisters to kind of clear out a path for us, or clean up anything left behind. Proximal tangibility is right here. Let's catch up. Yeah, we don't look like... I was having issues streaming on my gaming and just having issues streaming and gaming on my gaming PC, but looks like I'm able to record on both. However, but back to the gameplay. This is pretty easy. I'm getting a lot of rage every time I whirling slash, so keep an eye on that. Sustaining it by using melee skills such as rake and rarely blood hunt. We kill him? Yeah, we killed him. Let's see, there's really no issues as far as mob clearances are concerned. Increased damage modifiers on waystones can be pretty detrimental. But yeah, I'm just thinking about how I'm gonna look like I'm so intense fighting Zest. I beat him twice, but I've also died twice to him on max. And this is actually my first time trying him with the Velar boots.
Let's just get the breach rings. We'll edit this. Breach, give me them breach. Give me them breach rings. Alright, we're at the checkpoint.
We'll make our changes. We also did run out of mana potions before. So yeah. This should be easy. This should be easy. I don't know, I'm kind of nervous. Barrage, boom, boom. Okay. Sprint away. Might die right here. Nope. Oh, we could have died right there. We could have died so easily right there. But we did it. I got pistol whipped. But that was actually not too bad. All right. Yep. So that is my Bleed Ritualist build, beating Max Zesh. I guess almost dying, but if you like the video, hit the like and subscribe, and hope to see y'all during one of my live streams at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every day. All right, y'all take care.